It's really about how the misogyny, the ideas, the sexism is bleeding into the language. But I almost felt a sense of freedom. 1.4%. That is effective decriminalisation of rape in this country. I've just written my book, so I'm continuing my book publicity and promotion of my book. I'm Soma Sara, and I'm the CEO and the founder of Everyone's Invited, and I went viral for exposing rape culture. And it was like other people making TikTok things around.
So you've had over 50,000 submissions now, over 90,000 followers on Instagram. It's kind of a bittersweet thing, isn't it?
Exactly, it is bittersweet, and you know, it was so moving and amazing to know that so many people felt empowered and open enough to share their stories. All women and girls in this country will have had, you know, one experience on the spectrum of a rape culture that has probably left them changed and traumatized in some way.
When you first shared your own personal experience on your Instagram, what are the kind of behaviours that you wanted to talk about? What is rape culture?
So when I talk about a rape culture, I'm talking about when thoughts, attitudes and beliefs have the effect of normalising and trivialising sexual violence in society. So it's really about how the misogyny, the ideas, the sexism is bleeding into the language and then into the behaviours, into being harassed or groped on the tube, stalked on the street, followed home and assaulted in the classroom, and then leading into the more extreme experiences of assault and rape. So it really is about dehumanization at the heart of it.
Do you remember that moment when your first post went viral?
Yeah, so...
What was that like?
I guess a bit scary, but I almost felt a sense of freedom and feeling like a weight had been lifted, and that, I felt a sense of being free, and I think that is a really common response to how survivors feel when they share on our platform.
Being anonymous on social media can sometimes be like, well, a way for people to be not very nice, but for your platform, being anonymous kind of gives victims and survivors like a freedom, I suppose. It's a good thing for them to be able to share.
I think the anonymity was so crucial because the experiences are so stigmatized, and if they weren't anonymous, people would not share. They would not. That's why people don't report experiences, because they are so shamed and traumatized when they do so in real life. The anonymity was so crucial in allowing people to open up and truly feel a safe space where they could share freely.
Cases of sexual assault and rape are going up to the net. Since 2018 are the highest they've been, and charges are at their lowest. And I mean, the Met would say, they're not here to say, but they would say that they're doing all they can and that sexual assault investigations are the most complex investigations you can do. But I think it's interesting, like in a social media world where people have platforms like yours where they could potentially share experiences in a different way. They might trust your...
People don't trust those traditional systems because they have shown us, and they have shown victims time and time again, that they have been vehicles for re-traumatization and where they have not delivered justice. They just haven't. 1.4%. That is effective decriminalisation of rape in this country. So I think that, you know, people have needed to find other places to speak out, to be open, to find the sense of moving on and moving forward. And you know, sometimes traditional forms of justice aren't what victims seek. They just want to be heard and seen and validated and have a chance to heal.
So 2 years ago, you created Everyone's Invited, and it took off, and you've got so many followers now. What do you think has actually changed since you started the platform?
I think awareness. That has been probably one of the most significant changes. The new awareness raised around this area, around these issues, how they are much more widely spoken about. I think they've become destigmatized in many cases. I think we've really triggered a huge conversation in households, in communities, in schools, and I think schools are really prioritising this area like they never have before. And people are taking this seriously, which is amazing. It's really encouraging to see, but at the same time, a dialogue is not enough alone. There needs to be meaningful change followed through. There needs to be, a government prioritisation of this area. There needs to be money, funding towards schools so they can train teachers properly and deliver specialist education.
Phone number? Thank you very much.
Everyone's talking about it more, but do you think enough action has been done from the government?
No, we need to have some way of measuring, what's actually changed, what has been done in schools so far and what's worked, and some kind of recording and some kind of way to measure and understand what has been meaningful and effective.
Friends having the conversation when sadly if something awful does happen, what would you kind of say to friendship groups to help that person have the conversation with you and how to best support them? Because sometimes I think it can feel like a lot of pressure and you don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, I think it's really important to always be empathetic. Just make sure that they know that you're there to listen and to support. And not being judgmental on anything that you're saying, just letting them purely know that you're here to listen to them and that you believe them and that you support them. And also making sure that they can be directed and signposted to charities and helplines that really provide that essential support on the front line.
The only other thing I wanted to ask you is, what have you got planned next? Like, where is everyone's invited going next? And just you generally.
So if everyone's invited, we're now focusing more on the solutions. Amazing. So finding meaningful and effective solutions to these issues.
You've just written a book?
Yeah, I've just written my book. So I'm continuing my book publicity and promotion of my book, which is about, all the different topics.
And how was it writing that?
It was a real challenge. It was really hard. It took a lot from me, but it was amazing as well.